Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Challenge. Got a storm coming, but it's still about 100 miles west of us, maybe 90 miles. See what happens. They're already getting it in St. Louis and up north, and Shreveport out west. We have from 1989, Pontalba Gold Rum, bottled in Frankfort, Kentucky by Worldwide Importers. Well, that's Sazerac, and that's Buffalo Trace Distillery, okay? Imported from the Caribbean islands. That's all we know. We know it's not Puerto Rico or the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, because then it wouldn't be imported. It'd be from a U.S. territory or Commonwealth to a state. But could be from the British Virgin Islands, I guess. Anyway, somewhere down there. Now here we have the Gran Reserva Diez. Extra rare gold rum, matured in charred white oak barrels for gentle smoothness and subtle smokiness. Made in Puerto Rico, aged at least 10 years. So this was the youngest rum in this bottle is from 2008. So I bought it in 2018. Well, actually early 2019, but it was from the 2018 season. They had a gift pack. It was $35 on closeout. $70, and I got it for $30. And look, that's what you're going to pay, because one bottle is $40, the 10 year, the Diez, and the 8-year age is $30. Maybe you could get one for 28 and the other one for 38, but it's probably going to cost you 30 and 40. So I got $70 worth of rum and the cedar wood glass enclosed snapped brass snapped case, all of that for $35. Great bargain. I mean, this is going to be a taste challenge in name only. This thing made a hiss when I popped the rum Pontalba. Released some pressure, get some pressure buildup. There's no way this $6.99 liter bottle, I bought it for $6.99 at Kevin's, is going to compete with a 10-year age, extra age gold rum from the master producers at Bacardi. But, you know, we're going to do a long march through the rums, even if it's not going to be a contest. Now, what's going to come up after the Bacardi Gran Reserva Diez? It's going to be Castillo Gold. That'll be more of a challenge, but Castillo has some unique qualities, which some people like myself, for instance, might view as negatives, although I do like it more than when I first tried it. The Castillo Gold has a strength. Now, interesting thing, as expensive as this bottle is, it's a wooden cap, but it's a rubberized cork. Be nice if it was real cork, but oh well. Let's see, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so the Castillo has a strange olive oil taste. I know, right? Now, as we can see here, the Gran Reserva Diez is much darker. It was in charred oak barrels for 10 years, whereas the rum Pontalba, you'd be lucky if it's in a charred oak barrel for 10 months. I mean, that's your difference there. It's not a 3-year minimum for rum, okay? Let's see. Think for a minute. After the Castillo, I'm going to go up against Skull Gold. There's a name for it though, I can't remember. And then might be light gold. I gotta look at the bottle. Skull. Got that for $6.99 a liter, and that was gone that quick. They had it at international market for a liter, $6.99 a liter, and a huge island display, you know, in the middle of the floor where it's stacked up dozens and dozens of bottles. A week later, there was no Skull for $6.99. Just like when they had the handle bottle of the Canadian Limited, LTD Canadian Limited, for $10.99. I mean, they were rolling that stuff out like mad. Now it's back to the normal price, $15.99. So the sales have gone back to normal, which is steady but not exactly fiery. And then I'm going to go to Aristocrat Gold from Grosskreutz Distilling, who's owned by Heaven Hill today. It's a Heaven Hill brand, but it's actually just a Heaven Hill brand. There's no Grosskreutz aside from a name anymore. At one time, it was an independent distilling company. I think that's all the gold rums I have, and then so we'll go back to some other rum. But I got to go on to brandy for a while. Get ready, because I got Corbel California brandy. Yeah, and I've seen no video reviews for it. One guy did some kind of drinking video, like, I mean, I don't consider that a review. I'm not talking about a serious review. I don't see any for Corbel California brandy. A lot of them for the Corbel XS, the spice, extra spice, which Tanya Makowski and I did a examination of that one. We liked it, but I've never had the Corbel California brandy. There's a nice video about it on their website. But anyway, back to rum. So, oh, and Bacardi has wonderful videos. If you want to watch some great rum videos, I mean, they're promotionals. I mean, I know that. They're made by the companies. I mean, you got to have some sense, some intelligence when you're watching these things. They're still very well made. If you get on this website called The Rums of Puerto Rico, it's a trade association, been around since, I think, 1950. Almost 70 years. And there's some minimum requirements, like one of them, this is not the only one. One is that every rum they sell has to be aged at least 1 year. And they've got Bacardi on there, Don Q. I can't remember the other, but there's a lot. And they're all fascinating to watch. Like every video you watch, you're like, man, I want to try that rum. It's so detailed and they're so serious about it. So if you ever want to check out an interesting website, The Rums of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, I love that. I just kept watching it. I wanted to go run out and buy every brand, and try them all. Okay, this is the Bacardi Gran Reserva Diez. Now they're saying on the website, discover bright notes of stone fruits, banana, and pear. There is a fruity note all on this. I don't know about banana, pear, and all that, but I think banana, yeah. It's so aromatic. It's so like full in the nose of all these wonderful flavors. Balanced with caramelized vanilla and oak. Yeah. Enjoy it neat. They're saying enjoy it. They're saying don't do a mixed drink. I mean, you could, but this is a high level rum. It should be drunk neat. This is a luxurious rum aged for 10 years under the Caribbean sun and characterized by a balance of caramelized vanilla and oak with banana, pear, and melon. Okay, well, we said that. One sip and savor, but there is a recipe for it. They do have some, well, no, I think their recipe is somehow drinking it neat. Yeah. Gran Reserva Diez neat. The ingredients: 2 parts Bacardi Gran Reserva Diez rum. So that's it. All right. That's enough of that. I would like to try the Añejo and the Bacardi. I had the Bacardi Dark. There's a really dark one, though. It's much more expensive. So what's the downside of this? None. I mean, I paid $17.50 for it. The downside is it costs $40. It's $40. Maybe you'll see a sale, but they're only going to take $2 or $3 off. But that's too bad, because that's what it costs, because that's how good it is. You want to drink great rum, then you better pay $40. Well, really, you could get Bacardi Gold. That's $15 or less. It's a great one. It really is. But it doesn't have the richness of the Gran Reserva Diez, no. Oh, well, homely little Ron Pontalba, named after Michaela the Almonaster. born into a Spanish, the Spanish nobility in Louisiana in 1795. Now you say, how was she born into Spanish nobility in 1795 if she's from Louisiana? Because Louisiana was part of Spain in 1795. So you had nobles there, nobles here. Okay, the King of Spain, Ferdinand the... Well, let's see, who was it? The last, Ferdinand the Seventh. They were Bourbons, the Bourbon Kings, Bourbon Street, New Orleans, Bourbon Kings of Spain. They're still the House of Bourbon today. And with Felipe, King Felipe, I don't remember his number. The most famous Felipe or Philip was Philip II. You know that. Okay. A terrible king. Not a bad person. Very dedicated Catholic, holy person. But he was incompetent. Okay. Because he tried too hard. Now, I don't want to get into all of that. You know, people that can't delegate power and don't really understand how governments should operate. Okay, but anyway, that's another story for another time. And then Michaela de Almonaster married the Baron de Pontalba, Alcide. That was his first name, Alcide. And they had a bunch of children, and she became the Baroness de Pontalba of France. And then she built the Pontalba apartments in New Orleans. She became a very famous real estate magnate in Louisiana. But most of her family descendants live in France today. La République Française. No more Kingdom of France. Nope. Their last king was run out of power in 1848. That would be Louis Philippe of the House of Bourbon Orleans. And then the last emperor was Napoleon III, and he was run out in 1870. Well, actually, he abdicated. But he was on his way out. He was sick too of cancer, so they didn't know that. But it smells like spirits, like basic, not green spirits, but just alcohol. Like, you know, you say rubbing alcohol type thing. Yeah. There's some wood, some oak, some very light molasses, but this is just plain Jane, run-of-the-mill, basic. It's no way near the fabulous flavor of Bacardi Gold. So you want to pay $6.99 a liter, this is what you're going to get. You want Bacardi Gold, you're going to pay $12.99 or higher for the bottle, so $7.50. All right. Is this on the level of like Skull? It's not up to Castillo's level either. Although Castillo's not much more expensive. You can get liters of Castillo someplace to $6.99. That's your better bargain. It's kind of a strange flavor, but it's got more flavor. Skull might be better than this. Aristocrat is probably better than this. So is this the worst cheap gold rum I've bought? Probably the worst. Is it the worst on the market? Almost assuredly not. They have some real questionable things. Now, this is from Buffalo Trace, so there is some quality standard, you know, from Buffalo Trace, but I may as well go with the taste. It's not going to be a challenge, so. So spicy, rich, candy sugar. It's like a candy. Caramel, vanilla, and then the charcoal. You say charcoal and candy. Well, it's hard to describe. With fruit, all these different fruit components. It is so fabulous. But I think the 8-year might be better. You say, but it's 2 years young. I don't know why it's a different recipe, you know. But this is still great. Is it worth $40 a bottle? Yeah, it is. It really is. Those are the two best rums I've ever tried. The Bacardi Gran Reserva Diez and the Bacardi Reserva Ocho. The Bacardi Black is dynamite too, though. I got to say that. And the Myers is dark rum, the Plantation Punch dark rum. That is pretty thick and woody, but it's a little too woody. But I love the Myers. I prefer the Bacardi Black, I do believe. I love Bacardi Gold, you know. And now the white rums, they're fine too. You get the Bacardi Superior. That's a dynamite white rum. But the white rum's almost like a different type of drink. It's almost like Scotch whiskey compared to bourbon whiskey. They have similarities, but they're so detached. So white rum and gold rum is very different. I like both. Okay, and then the black rums, of course, they're different. Okay. Yeah. The Ron Pontalba just, you can tell it's not the best grade of barrel. He says it's probably the cheapest wood oak barrels they can get. I bet it is too. Why do you think it's $6.99 a liter? It is not an elaborate array of charred wood that they're filtering it through, charcoal filtering. That's right. It's probably a basic charcoal filtering. It's probably low-grade molasses. Sure it is. And it tastes like it. Is it terrible? No. But it's only marginally good. Is there some positive attribute? I mean, does it have some worthwhile quality? Talking about the Ron Pontalba. It has some. But only at the bare minimum. I think the best you can score it, and that could be over scored, could be a B minus. So like 80 out of 100, 81 out of 100. If you're really pushing the envelope, 82 out of 100. But I don't think it's up there. Is it a repurchase? Well, that would depend on your usage. If you're going to make mixed drinks and you're not picky and you're going to watch football, like they used to show the commercials with a guy watching the NFL games with Wild Irish Rose. This is the truth. They used to show NFL games on CBS on Sunday, and one of the commercials was Wild Irish Rose. It was almost like an official, I think it was like an official wine of the NFL. But it was like a working class guy with a TV tray, you know, the fiberglass TV tray, and he's got Wild Irish Rose. He's pouring it in the rocks glass with ice, and he's watching the game with potato chips or Cheetos. And that's the level that it was at. And the NFL was trying to say, look, this is basic, you know, it's like Miller High Life, or even lower than that, Meister Brow beer, Wild Irish Rose. And this would be something like that. Very entry level. And if you're cool with that and you just want the 80 proof and you're going to watch football, like the college national championship Monday night, it'll work fine. I mean, it's going to be masked by whatever mixed drink you make it. But to sit there and drink it neat and swish it around and talk about, oh, all these characteristics. No. What characteristics? It cannot make it. I do pick up water too. I mean, a lot of water here. It just can't. It doesn't make it. Going to purchase my first bottle of bourbon today. Any suggestion on a complete neophyte? Yes. If you're just starting out with bourbon, I would start low and climb the ladder. That's the way I've been doing these spirits for 4 or 5 years. I figured I'll start at the bottom and climb. Now, people have given me expensive whiskey, you know, relatively expensive whiskey. Sazerac Rye, Woodford Reserve, Blanton's, which is $60 a bottle. Well, Son, you gave me those 3 bottles. Well, I mean, I'm going to drink them. But I tried to start at the bottom price point and climb. Then you can see how they're getting better and better as you pay more. Generally, not always. The train is shaking this house. What would be a good starting point with bourbon? If you want straight bourbon, benchmark Old Number 8 McAfee's Benchmark Old Number 8 would be a great start. It's from Sazerac. It's from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. You can get it sometimes $8.99 a bottle, regular size bottle. Aged 3 years, basic. That would be a good starting point. Also, Ancient Age, same price point, maybe $1 more. Ancient Age, aged 3 years, straight bourbon whiskey from Buffalo Trace. So those are two real good ones. Evan Williams, the green label, aged 3 years, but charcoal filtered, not chill filtered, charcoal filtered. That would be a good one. You can sometimes get that $10.99. If you want to try blended bourbon, which is at least 51% straight bourbon, but it'd be cut with grain spirits, you could try a good one would be 10 high. But then the price point is really the same as the straight bourbons I just named, so you might want to consider that. Oh, but 10 high works fine. Kentucky Gentleman is a blended bourbon that might work, be cheap. And another one you could check out if you can find it is Kentucky Tavern. Now I saw a liter, 1,000 milliliters, a liter of Kentucky Tavern at Dorgnac's for $8.99. Used to be $10.99. $8.99 for straight bourbon whiskey. That's been on the market since what? 1903. That would be maybe your best choice for entry point. Kentucky Tavern from Buffalo Trace. But now that's if you can find it. Damn, dude, you do videos all throughout the day and night, says Charlie Beats. Well, sometimes I'll do a binge, I'll just be doing videos. And then other times it'll be fallow. And people say, you still posting them, but they could be recorded days earlier. So I might go days without doing anything. But yeah, I do tend to put them out. Oh, well, it's a hobby, like people collect stamps. So they're constantly fooling with stamps, right? You say, well, that's all you do is fool with stamps. Well, I mean, that's a hobby. That's what they like to do. Oh, so sweet, so rich, so lemon. It's got lemon and marmalade and all these different sugars. This is just fabulous. I can't brag enough. I don't know why I'm bragging. I didn't make it. I bought it. But I can't praise this enough. This Bacardi 10-year. If you want some really good stuff, get it. But don't start with it because you'll never be able to get anything lower that's going to, you know what I'm saying? So if you get these, if you start out like Joe Biden's country, if you start out with $60 bourbon, right, and then you try to start drinking $9 and $10, it's going to throw it off like it's going to be like a step back, I think, and it just won't work. So I say go up. That's just my opinion. Go up the ladder. Then you're going to see a lot of improvements. It's like with beer, you say, well, I'm starting out with Black Albert or 1050 barrel aged. Well, that's fine. Or Pliny the Elder. That's fine. But then when you start trying maybe the lower ones, it could affect that. That's why I'm glad when I started beer 24 years ago, nearly 24 years ago, I started interchangeably doing macro, micro. And then I was able to get a little perspective on it. It was a big help. You give awesome reviews. I like your vids. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, we got the news coming up. We got the storm coming up. So this was no kind of taste challenge, as I told you before, wouldn't be. Compared to the Diez, the Bacardi Diez, the Ron Pontalba is trash. It's trash compared to the Diez. All right. On its own merits, I wouldn't say it's trash, but it's very basic and minimal. Okay. And many people be satisfied to be there and never go higher and just get their cheap drink every day and whatever. I would not do that myself. I like to experiment and try different things. So I could not be satisfied with that. I'd be just as bored as heck. It'd be boring. It would be a question of boredom, not like quality and hating it. Although, you know, it is kind of questionable, I guess. But the Diez is a solid A all the way. I mean, how you could give this an A minus, I can't conceive it. An A minus would be just a travesty, I think, of a review. To me, it's at least an A. It's that good. Every sip is like an adventure. Every sip is a little adventure. So what, I take 12 sips of that? Did I take 12 sips? Those 12 little adventures. Now the Pontalba isn't really an adventure. It's just like something you're doing. Big fan of the content as well. Thanks, Joe Biden Stencher. How you like that name, Joe Biden Stenchers? Tomorrow morning I'm going to pivot back to whiskey, and I've got the Northern Lights, which is a real winner. That thing has just been performing so well. Oh, what a pleasure to review that. I would highly recommend it, and you can get it so cheap, $15.99 for a huge jug bottle at Walmart, half gallon. That is so nice. Now, Canadian Crest is all right. It's all right. It's coming from Albertsons, Vaughn's, Jewel-Osco, that grocery chain. But I have seen other companies sell it that are not associated with Albertsons. So I don't know if it's technically, I think it is owned by Albertsons, but they might lease it out to other distributors, you know, give so that they can sell it as long as they get maybe their cut. Just like Walmart owns Caliber whiskey and rum, but you'll see it sold at other places. So it could be some arrangement like that. I work on a political campaign. Oh, okay. Good idea. I have a free voting service myself. I give free advice to people for who they should vote for. So if people are not sure who to vote for, they can contact me and I'll tell them. And I think that's a good community service that I'm doing, just free voting advice. All right, anyway, so thanks for watching this video production, and off to watch the news.